Cup. It is just about high noon, and that means it's time to start our games. Our first game of the day is going to be Sweden and Canada. So let's take a closer look at these two teams. First up, we got Sweden, and Reinforce. These are these guys.
Here we go.
Oh, believe it or not, these guys are pretty good at Overwatch.
They actually learned something from the Brazilians yesterday.
That's,
the Swedish
we
robot.
want this to be.
Every time I watch this, you got to watch a different person's face every time.
It's better each time, yeah.
But we learned a lot about these guys yesterday in the matchup. They really came together beautifully, I think.
Yeah. Great tanks and supports on this lineup. Coco, Shepsian from Envious, Save from Luminosity, great Lucio, and even Sebosai, and then Tvig, just fantastic. Probably the best player in the world. He's just the kiss on the road. Yeah,
I mean, that's right. We were listening to some Seal earlier this morning, guys. If you're curious where that came from, I wanted to add some context to that. But yeah, if anybody's going to give teams like Korea and Finland a run for their money, it's definitely going to be Sweden. I think these guys are top 3, maybe even top 1. We'll see.
I do agree.
I really liked watching Sebosai play the Zarya yesterday. Came up huge for the team. If anything, there were a couple disturbing moments where they were clumping up for
CC. Got a bit lazy.
They did get a bit lazy, so they need to watch their positioning. Anubis didn't go as smoothly as it could have for them.
But also Solive, I mean, he did some sick stuff on Genji. On Dorado even had like 45% of team's damage at some point. So he's really trying to pull this team together, you know, make something happen.
Is it really Solive, or is it more just nobody else doing damage at that point?
It's Solive. Let's go with that story right there. Fantastic
player. I mean, we do know he's a top-ranked he's a top-ranked player on the ladder. So.
Well, and I think one of the things they did learn from that is, you know, don't take any of these teams lightly. It's still anyone's bag who can win these groups. Well, sort of.
Sweden. Right. Is that Sweden you're going with?
While we're on that topic, let's move over to Canada. Speaking of winning this group, this is a huge matchup for them. They need to fight for any corner they can to stay alive in this group. Look at Poke's face!
High five.
Oh, poor Poke.
Poke thought he had the support, but no. No.
When it comes to Canada, looking at their strategies yesterday, we're going to get some more posing.
Oh, wow, Huck has been to the gym. I don't know if you noticed, he can barely keep the biceps in that Team Canada.
He has to impress outside of the game because he can't do it in game.
If only I had larger biceps and I could play Overwatch better too.
Well, if you're going according to Huck, you can, so.
Well, these guys are, you know, despite the size of their biceps, they're going to need to step it up today, because yesterday was a bit rough for Team Canada.
Yeah, we actually saw Sherford do a lot of work yesterday in their series versus Spain. So, I mean, if he can keep it up and people like Poke can get it together, he was shut down really hard yesterday, but if they can come through today, I think they can do a good matchup versus Sweden.
Well, I think it's what we saw from Canada was an evolution over the course of that best-of-3, starting with the Zarya and trying to play around Poke's Genji. They realized, hey, maybe we should just play McCree, one of Sherfour's best heroes instead, and that adaptation saw them doing better and better. They did win Temple of Anubis. Now, I think part of that was Spain really failing to adapt, and he was on the high ground of the McCree, basically free-firing, but that goes to show how strong Sherfour can be when he's left unchecked.
I mean, and that's really it, right? I mean, I feel like if Canada wants to have any chance, they really need to get Sherfour back on that DPS and keep him there. Let him do what he does best.
All right, important stuff to keep in mind as we head into our first match of the day, so I'm going to give it over to our casting team of Mr. X and ZP.
Thank you, Rachel. It's a huge match for Team Canada, ZP. I feel like they have so much more to play for, obviously. You know, losing to Spain yesterday, they're going to make it out of this group. They're going to need to beat Sweden here. And I think the biggest thing, you know, you kind of look at yesterday, it's like Sherfour playing that Zarya. When he went to McCree, they played a lot better. You had a chance to catch up to him. What do you have to say?
So I was talking with Sherfour, and Sherfour kind of came in and said, look, I do play a really good Zarya. He was flexing to the roles of his team, but I do think they might have a bit of a different approach going into this year where they might go, okay, maybe we do need Sherfour on the DPS classes. But talking to him this morning, he was more on the fence.
Yeah, I feel like they do need him to go DPS for them to beat Sweden. I mean, Sweden has so much firepower. And just to recap, you know, this will be a best-of-3 series. The first map will be Dorado. Second map will be Temple of Anubis. And then the third map, if need be, will be Lijiang Tower. But I think, obviously, Canada, a ton of pressure on them, and I'm going to be really looking at Huck. I know it's kind of been a story we've been talking about with this Canada team, but playing the Reinhardt, he's really got to start making some good decisions.
Well, when you take a look at the matchup that they had yesterday against Spain, we really did see that the tank gameplay gave Spain a lot of advantages where it opened up their DPS to get early pickoffs and really kept Canada on the back foot. But hey, looking right now at Canada, take a look at Surefour. He is opening up here on that Genji, so it does appear like there will be some change-ups.
So it's interesting, right? We have Surefour potentially running Genji here. Obviously, some time for Canada to change their comps on the offensive end. Poke is going to be going over to Zarya, and we saw him mainly play Genji yesterday. That's what he's really comfortable, going with. Now I think it may be even harder for Poke to get going. Playing that Zarya, coordination with Huck is going to be huge, as Huck is potentially running Winston. I think it may end up being a little bit harder for Canada now.
It could be harder. The flip side to that, though, is that a really superstar DPS like Surefour is, many people consider him to be one of the very best DPS in the game, can find ways of finding openings and winning team fights that shouldn't be won. So for Canada, they're feeling like the upside of Surefour on Genji outweighs the downside of maybe having a less experienced person on the Zarya.
Yeah, then for Sweden on defense, you'll see Tavik on Reaper and IDDQD on May. Look for those two guys to really be the superstars for this team as we're getting things underway. It's going to be Sweden versus Canada. Canada on the offensive side of things, and we'll actually see ID going to run Farah, trying to get some rockets and some damage down on that high ground ZP, and they're taking a little bit of a flank route here, and I like this play from Canada.
They're putting 4 people all the way to the back. It's going to be Winston, Genji, Mercy, and Farah, all coming on the backside, really avoiding the archway, and this very well could catch Sweden off guard. Also of note here is that Sweden isn't running anything that's going to be crazy good against ID here, so ID is going to have a lot of room to work with until Sweden will eventually swap to a McCree, but the front line just got destroyed. 2 people down immediately, X.
Yeah, now it's going to be even harder on this flank, right? I mean, you came there, you had a good setup, you were going to surprise the side of Sweden, but once your guys on the front line die, there's really nothing you can do but back out. And now you've given up all your secrets here of your Canada. They know you're trying to come from the back. It'll be interesting to see how Sweden plays this. It looks like they're putting a lot more emphasis on the front. They're going to let just the Genji and the Farah of Canada just kind of hang out in the back and wait to deal with those guys later in the fight.
However, you take a look at Canada, they are starting to get Sweden in an awkward position here. Sweden doesn't really care to be where they're at right now. They're flanking around, trying to get a good kill here, but Canada, they're doing this pretty well right now. They've regrouped, they're attacking both sides. If they can just get one pickup, it's going to be huge. As Tavik goes down, ID takes out IDDQD. It's 2 kills here for Canada, and momentum's starting to swing their way.
And ID with 5 HP is going to have Rolf coming in to heal him back up. You see Coco, he's going to be nano boosted for Sweden on the Reinhardt. The rocket barrage comes in quickly, though. Zebasai deals with ID. It's going to be Zebasai with 2 kills on Zarya. It's just Coco getting put to sleep there by Logan the Best, just trying to stay alive. For Canada, you're going to see Huck. He's going to be nano boosted with that Primal Rage Winston. And you see, though, the fight coming down ZP, reinforcements coming in for Sweden. They should be able to get a hold here. And you see the big thing here, Tavik switching over to McCree. They needed that to deal with ID's Farah.
They not only needed to deal with the Farah, but it's also one of the better counters in the game to dealing with the Genji. So now Tavik, he's going to be pulling double duty. He's going to be looking to shut down both Surefour and ID. And ID, he knows that the McCree is in. He knows that the jig is up. So he is going to be swapping here to the Reaper. Rolf off the Mercy onto Lucio. So Canada swapping to more of a traditional lineup here. And bear in mind, Canada doesn't have too many more attempts at this. This might be the one and only Dragon Blade that Surefour has. So if he uses it here, he's going to need to make the most of it.
Yeah, and they're going to have to really play around. It's the only ultimate up for Team Canada on the side of Sweden. They have nothing in the ultimate categories right now. You can see at the top of your screen, they're just building some of them. You're getting close with IDDQD to a Blizzard, and Zebasai is the closest right now to a Graviton Surge. But Surefour just trying to find a hole in the defense here to use this Dragon Blade, waiting for maybe some frontline heroes to push up, engage, and then he can come in over the top.
So for Canada, it is going to come down to one final team fight here. The biggest resources they have are Dragon Blade and Graviton. Poke is going to have to sub Surefour here, and Surefour is going to go to the back and try and deal with it. They're going to have to deal with the counter Graviton Deadeye, but for Canada, this is going to be their last opportunity as the Graviton does come in.
Yeah, and you do see, though, the Blizzard coming in from IDDQD. Nice reflect there of Surefour into Tavik. Now he's going to pull out the Dragon Blade. He's going to dive on one, able to take out Zay, but quickly dealt with Zebasai, picking up some big kills here as Zarya early. We saw it in the last one. He was able to take out the Farah ID with the Rocket Barrage, and then now you see he's able to take out the Dragon Blade wielding Surefour. Surefour going to switch over to McCree now with only 40 seconds left CP. What's Canada's best approach?
Canada just has to hope to get an early pick off here. They don't have any ults to use. Neither does Sweden, but still rough to go in and attack without ults to open things up. May right now going to block knock out Canada, keep them pushed back even more. Sweden, they're bending back, and for now, they're just letting Canada come in and winning this poke war a bit. Huck, though, does have the Earth Shatter. Sound Barrier's up. They're going to go for the Sound Barrier, go for the Earth Shatter, and try and break this open right here, right now.
Yeah, so here comes the Sound Barrier from both teams, and now you're really going to be looking at Huck. He uses that Earth Shatter, doesn't get anything for it. It's going to be Zebasai picking up one. You see Surefour doing a nice job just laying down damage. He's sucked into the Graviton Surge, though. You're starting to see kills come in for Sweden. We're going to be going into overtime here. Canada needs to stay alive and needs to get on the payload. The Blizzard comes in from IDDQD, though, on the side of Sweden, and that is it. Canada not really able to get anything going on the offensive end there.
And a big part of that, too, you look at how that game broke down. It's easy to glorify the DPS, but the tank play coming out of Sweden was sublime. Zebasai in particular was playing an incredibly impactful Zarya, was usually the first one to get a kill in most of those fights, was deep in the action, fully charged, and really Canada had no good way of dealing with it for what they were running.
Yeah, it's just really good coordinated tank play from the side of Sweden. I mean, you saw Coco, land those Earth Shatters, you saw him nano boosted a few times, picking up some kills, but really Zebasai Zarya, I think, was really key there in the first half.
And the problem here for Canada is that they haven't lost Dorado yet, but they're going to have to come out with an even more impactful defensive hold, which means that X, they cannot lose a single fight. One big team fight loss, that's going to be it. It will be Sweden's map, so a lot of pressure here in Canada in what is already a must-win series.
And it's going to be extremely difficult, right, with the firepower that Sweden has. Maybe you see Tavik go over and use something like a Hanzo and try and get a pick early, and that would really kind of end things there for Canada, so they have to be very careful on the defensive end here.
Well, speaking of that, Hanzo, Tavik does love running it here on this map, and that appears to be what we're going to be seeing here. Tavik will be the Hanzo IDD QD on the McCree, so you're going to have a double burst threat here, where Tavik, of course, very good at getting those early pickoffs, but so is IDD QD, where just 2 taps from McCree can oftentimes end a character's life, so Sweden going to be running that double threat, and for Canada, they must play perfectly here, or Dorado is going to go the way of Sweden.
Oh, and I feel like Canada is in such an odd situation where, like, Surefour knows he can play a very good competent Zarya, and it probably makes Poke a little bit more comfortable, able to run that Genji all the time. But I feel like, after seeing it yesterday, you need that DPS damage from Surefour, that consistent top flight DPS characters who are playing at a high level for Canada to win. And I think it's just really kind of thrown off their compositions and everything they practiced, quite frankly, up until this point, kind of thrown everything out the window. It's going to be Sweden here on offense. They do not have to get the payload very far to win this one. Be on board with Tavik here. It's Hanzo trying to get some sight here early. Now we'll see if he can get a pick. If he can get a pick, I expect Sweden to just push right on through. And Hanzo's also great for breaking that Reinhardt shield up top.
Well, that's one thing you see with these Hanzo compositions, where once you do get that early pickup, the team will be way more aggressive and push in because they do have that numerical advantage. And Tavik right now, just rolling to the top right now, looking for the scatter arrow, throwing it in. And again, not a whole lot of pressure here on Sweden either. They have multiple attempts at this and not a long way to go.
But I feel like they're just giving, like Canada's just giving Sweden so much room here, ZP, to just get up so close to where they need to squirt that payload. It's going to be Huck getting a first big kill, but now you see Tavik with the Dragon Strike. He's going to use that ultimate, and he's not going to be able to get anything with it. It's going to be ID and Logan the Best picking up some kills there for Canada. So Canada gets an early hold here, ZP, but I feel like they can't give up that much room on the map to this Sweden team. Eventually, they're going to burn them and win it.
And the scary thing here is that the payload is far enough up that there will be situations where, even though the fight could still be in progress and Canada could be winning it, Sweden could still sneak it through. So they have to keep an eye on that as well. Really for Sweden, I think all they have to do here, wait for some ultimates to come up, look for a Dragon Strike into Graviton, and that might be all they need. Certainly if they take out Surefour early in the fight, I don't think Canada's going to be able to withstand, but about 3 minutes left here, a little under here for Sweden. They have plenty of time.
Yeah, Sweden has an eternity to work with. You see IDDQD putting down some shots here as McCree trying to just get some good poke damage and then potentially push in to try and finish off a player. Logan, the Best on the side of Canada, has that nano boost, and ID, actually, he drops. I was going to say he would have been the nano boost target, but when he falls, they're going to have to try and give that over to Huck now on Reinhardt, and you see IDQD coming in, knocking down some shots on McCree. They have Poke low, but Poke's able to win that engagement. Logan, the Best, doing a good job in the backline, able to heal up the rest of his teammates, and now you're going to see Huck nano boosted on Reinhardt. Do you think they really needed to use that in this fight? It looked like the fight was kind of over.
The fight was kind of over, but I'm sure the way their comms were going there is that they didn't really realize it was as over as it was, especially in the heat of the moment. I mean, they're here in person. They know that this is a must-win game. You're going to have some nerves come out here where I do agree that was a bit wasted. And now you take a look here at Sweden. Dragon Strike is on the table. Nano Boost is here. Deadeye is here. Graviton soon to be here. Canada about to face their harshest test here in just a moment, as holding this is going to be difficult.
Yeah, so you'll have chips with the Nano Boost for Sweden. Look for that potentially going on Coco. They have a sound barrier as well. And then Zebasai getting dangerously close to that Graviton Surge. So now that he gets that Graviton, look for that Dragon Strike and Graviton Surge combination you were talking about. You can see the bottom left-hand side of your screen, Tavik's POV here. So he's just laying down some shots at range, and you see his teammates coming from the staircase. You see the Graviton come in. Here comes the Dragon Strike. There's 3 players inside of it for Canada. It's going to be 2 quick kills going in favor of Sweden. Surefour doing all he can, but guess what? Zemisai is actually down on the payload, and he actually just escorts it all the way. Nobody there to contest for Canada.
And the unfortunate thing there for Canada is that if they had a little bit more room to work with, say that if they had to just hold on first, right, compared to a normal situation, I think Surefour had the potential of bringing that back. He was still in good health, good position, but unfortunately, because they weren't able to push it too far on their own attack, they get punished, and it ends right here, right there. So now Sweden up 1 map versus Canada.
Yeah, Canada looked good, but I felt like they just gave up so much of the map to Sweden there, where Sweden just needed 1 good aggressive push, and you knew Canada was going to bend and break. It's going to be Sweden up 1-0 in our best of 3 series here against Canada, but earlier in the week we had a chance to sit down with the Canadian boys. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Team Canada is going to be interesting. We've got a couple of players on Team Canada that haven't really seen the light of competitive play before.
I've been a gamer my whole life, a dream to play on stage for this many people, and I just want to make my country proud.
I imagine Huck will be quite good at encouraging his teammates, giving them the advice they need to really maximize what Team Canada can bring to the table.
As a former pro player for StarCraft 2, obviously I have the experience it takes to play on a big stage. The make or break factor for Team Canada will be whether we can play as a team or not.
I probably have to be the primary shot caller to win. I needed to look for a tank player, and that's when I picked Logan the best.
The team to beat is either Finland or Sweden. I think most people would say Sweden initially, but I would actually give Finland the edge.
Team Canada is really going to have to integrate their non-professional players into their team communication primarily if they're going to do well and make it out of groups.
Our team is individually really strong, and if we find our comp, I know everyone will do well.
We're just hoping to play well and carry momentum into the rest of the group.
And I think for me, ZP, the thing that I take out of that piece there is when Poke is talking about how Canada has the individual skill, which I do think they have, right? I mean, we saw some bright moments there in that first map against Sweden. I just feel like they have a lot of players playing roles they're uncomfortable with, a lot of pressure on, you know, guys like Hawk and Poke to perform, and I think it's just really starting to overwhelm them.
And the key thing here is that in an exhibition like the Overwatch World Cup, you do have players coming together representing their country, but some countries have better mixes than others, where some country, their most prolific players might have been the perfect mix, whereas for Canada, they definitely have overlap where they've had to sort of flex and figure out the right formula, and unfortunately, I don't think they've quite found that yet.
And our game number 2 will be on Temple of Anubis. Assault map. This is where Canada, I mean, they need to win this one, ZP. If they're, you know, really there, you look at the group, I mean, this is it for Canada, right? They need to win this match. They're going to stay alive, and it will be Canada on the defensive side of things here to kick things off, and they'll have actually Poke. He's going to go back to the Genji, so I do like that. They put him in a position where he's more comfortable.
They have put him in a position where he's more comfortable. Surefour will be on the McCree, though, so they still have that raw DPS power coming out from Surefour. And for Canada, this really is a make-or-break moment. If they lose here to Sweden, that is effectively going to be it. They will not be making it to BlizzCon weekend, so everything now on the line for Canada.
So it's interesting there. You actually saw Poke come out as Genji. ID, he goes back, switches the Reaper. They're going to put Poke on Zarya. So, you know, we talked about how he could be comfortable on that Genji. He's going to be running Zarya again. And I feel like it is, he's probably, well, you look at him and Hawk, I feel like those two guys are the ones with the most pressure on this Canadian team. I feel like, though, Poke, I mean, we spoke with him a little bit earlier. He was looking at this as an opportunity, like, hey, you know, potentially I want to move my way into the pro ranks from being a streamer. So I think a lot of pressure on him to perform well. They'll get kicked off underway for Sweden. We'll see IDDQD starting off on Widowmaker. We'll see if he can get a pick here.
The Widowmaker opening, I love this here on Assault maps. And IDDQD, even though he's well known for playing McCree, he can be an absolutely dangerous Widowmaker. I know he was talking to me just the other day about how he loves using it to win games in comp mode. And right now, he's just going in over the top, looking for early pickoffs, and he takes out Surefour. There is no better pickoff than that.
Oh, and he's going to put a lot of damage onto Poke. And oh, another kill there from IDDQD. Nice shots there from the Widow of Team Sweden, and Sweden just bamboozles Canada there, takes through their defense, and they're going to get the first point.
And here's the really scary thing here, X. Take a look at Sweden's ults right now. Tavik, very close to having a Dragon Blade. If you have a Dragon Blade versus a team that has no defensive ults, like is about to be here for Sweden. You can actually take point B with incredible speed, and IDDQD, still a golden opportunity for more pickoffs. He's going for it again.
Oh, and Logan the Best knows that he's up here, cannot poke around that corner, but here comes Tavik getting dangerously close to that Dragon Blade. 95% ult charge. Now he gets it. They're able to pick up 1 kill. Let's see if he pulls it out, and here comes Tavik slicing and dicing through Team Canada. He's going to be able to get one. Darts right across, putting a lot of damage down as Sweden trying to end this one early on this first point. Nice dash through here. It's going to be Tavik still on the point for Sweden, just trying to locate the enemy. Lucio up in the sky, not able to do so. Takes out Surefour though quickly, but it's going to be Canada holding on.
Canada lucky to be holding on there where they didn't even give up a third because they were in a rough situation. However, the thing about Temple of Anubis to always keep in mind is that if you do not flawless victory the defense as you come in, respawns can and will overwhelm you as an offense. So for Sweden, they lost a few people early on to that fight, and even though the Dragon Blade came out, it was a little bit too late.
Yeah, but and then now you have Canada with some ultimate advantage, so they should be able to get at least one more hold. You see how Logan the Best getting very close to that Nano boost. They'll have Huck with the Earth Shatter, so maybe if you're Sweden, you come into this next fight, you save some of these ultimates, you don't use them, you just kind of try and build some more ultimates, force some out from the opposing team. And here comes ID, he gets Nano boosted, has Death Blossom as well. Surefour picks up 1, and it looks like, at least for now, he's going to save that Death Blossom, and I like the decision.
Yeah, saving Death Blossom there after you pick off 2 kills, very much worthwhile, because this is one of the maps where you can get even more value out of a Death Blossom compared to normal. Lots of really sneaky drop-down areas that you can use from the Reaper.
Yeah, and Canada holds on to some ultimates there. They just used the Nano boost. Surefour getting very close to the Deadeye, so it could look good for Canada going into this next fight as well. It's going to be chips for Sweden with that Nano boost, and that is it. Tavik getting very close. He'll have a Dragon Blade going in this next one, and he's going to be Nano boosted up, and he pulls it out. But there comes a Graviton Surge from the side of Canada. Poke putting down the Graviton onto the point, sucks some members of Sweden in, but it's going to be Surefour trying to put down some shots. He's quickly taken out by Chips. You see how good he is on Anna, able to take out those DPS heroes. IDQD flies into the point, and this one looks like Sweden getting control of this fight.
Sweden is getting control of the point, but Surefour was able to bleed Sweden early on there. He took out a few members. Now the respawns for Canada will be coming in, so Canada should have a good chance of retaking this. Coco and IDDQD, though, still threats, still mopping up the respawns. Sweden trying to make the most opportunity. They don't even have a third yet, though, and it's just cleanup after cleanup coming from Sweden, but it is really rough to take this point as the respawns continue to flood in, continue to harass. Poke is getting deep into it, takes down Tavik, and that's a huge pickoff for defense trying to hold on here.
Yeah, right there you saw IDDQD use his Deadeye, just zone some players from Canada off of the point. It also helps his teammates coming from the spawn get back onto it, so IDDQD doing a nice job. He's going to be Nano boosted as McCree inside of the point, just trying to lay down some damage, but his teammates are all falling around him. He's going to drop. Canada gets a hold, Sweden gets a tick, but they did use a lot of ultimates there, Sweden, to get that. Now you're going to have Canada building some ultimates. Again, they have Poke now with the Dragon Blade. ID will be close to a Blizzard, so Canada should have an advantage going into this next fight.
Canada will have a bit of advantage going to the next fight. I think Sweden knows that they're probably not going to go for anything too crazy here. I mean, if Tavik gets an early pick-off with Roadhog, that changes things a little bit where they will be able to go in. And oh my goodness, did he grab Surefour? He did! Now it's a 6v5. Here comes Sweden. This is a golden opportunity.
Oh, it's going to be Tavik put to sleep, but IDDQD finishes off Logan the Best. This is Sweden's opportunity here, ZP, to take this one. You see the Blizzard coming in from the side of Canada. It's going to be Poke underneath, just trying to stay alive. As soon as he pulls out the Dragon Blade, he falls. Surefour switches over to Tracer, trying to get back towards the point. He drops as well. Now you're going to see the sound barrier come in for Sweden, and that is it. Canada cannot get back to the point. Sweden sets a good time there.
Absolutely, and it sort of shows both on point A and point B. Surefour is the magic prize that Sweden needs to claim. If you can take him out early in a fight, it is so much easier to get in on Canada and do what you want to do.
Yeah, and in that first half, Tavik 13-4. Doing a nice job for Sweden. And now Coco, as of Reinhardt, goes 15-3. You look on the other side of the coin, Canada, Huck had a little bit of a rough go there. He goes 1-5 on the Reinhardt. Just shows you how big tank play here is at the Overwatch World Cup. And now Canada, they will have their opportunity to attack ZP. Is there anything you're looking to see them do here?
For Canada, I'm not expecting anything too crazy. I don't know if they'd go out with the Widowmaker like we saw from IDDQD. I don't know if anyone is that comfortable with it on the Canada side. I think they're going to play it more standard and just hope that things go well early on. The interesting thing about maps like Anubis is that they are a little bit more variable, where if you do get that 1 in a million early attack that goes really well and builds you ult, you can just snowball and take point B really rapidly. And I think for Canada, for their odds of just staying alive here, they really need that to happen for them.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see how Canada engages Sweden. You obviously, on this map, you see a lot of the teams set up on the bridge. You're going to see Tavik running the Junkrat, so a lot of damage going to be going down here at the gate. I'm looking to see, how Canada gets in and starts these fights. It looks like you're going to have Poke running the Genji if all things stay the same, but still there's nobody else there to follow it up. It's not like they have a Genji-Winston combination which can really start to get some of these guys on the high ground down to the low and can give Canada some map advantage.
For the Genji here, I think Poke is just lucky that we're not seeing a Winston coming out here from Sweden. Now, Sweden, if they do have trouble and they do think Poke is an issue, I do think they'll swap to that Winston just to be even better at defending this, but I don't know, it's going to be rough. I know certainly if Canada was running this against South Korea and you had Miro there, this would be a horrible idea for Poke, but at least on the offense, Poke can swap it up a little bit.
Yep, it'll be Canada on offense here. You see the trap laid by Tavik. See if anyone unfortunately falls into it there for Canada. CZ Huck just looking around the corner. There you go. Some good map awareness there. But it's going to be Chips getting an early first pick there on a Sureforce. So big player for Canada out of this fight early. You expect Canada now just have to wait at the gates for Sureforce to come back.
Valuable time being bought there, where it's going to take Canada another 10 seconds or so to actually reset. And if you're Sweden, you keep doing what you're doing. You keep isolating Sureforce, you keep taking out early in the fight, and you make the rest of Canada beat you, which I think Sweden is more than willing to take, as IDDQD pokes out and Poke early on in this fight. And as a result, if they keep chaining deaths, it's just going to continue making things worse here for Canada.
Oh, I mean, it's just the damage that Tavik is just laying down right now, and then IDDQD able to finish off some players once they're weak. It's really just giving Canada some issues here, and with just so much spam coming through the door from Junkrat. Be interesting to see how Canada adjusts. They're going to have Sureforce go over to Roadhog, so now you're going to have Canada bring out 3 tanks and Poke on the Genji, so a lot of pressure on Poke to pick up some early kills.
And for Sureforce here, I think he's trying to get the best of both worlds, where he wants survivability, but the ability to get pickoffs. Roadhog works for how much he's being focused, but it's still going to be difficult to get that early pickoff. Sweden just bending back, not giving any free hooks right now to Canada. Do the ground surge out here early on. Will it be enough? For now, Sweden unfazed.
Yeah, it's going to be Tavik, though, taking out Hawk here to start the fight. And you see Tavik, he's going to be actually IDDQD, sorry, on the point here, just trying to locate Poke as the Genji. And see, now it's going to be a sound barrier coming in for Team Canada. IDDQD is going to have to fall back as players pushing him inside. It's going to be 2 kills for Canada, so this is where they really need to make their mark. ZP, see Poke pulling out that Dragon Blade on the point. He's quickly shut down by Zebasai yet again, and Coco with that Earth Shatter. We'll see if he comes up with a big play, and it's going to be both Reinhardts charging at each other at the same time. Good focus fire there from Canada, able to take out Coco. Canada gets on the point, and a really good push there from Canada should secure them point A.
It was good, but I feel like they also got away with one there. The ults were definitely not in sync. Things were not coming out when they really needed to be, and they're lucky that went as well as it did. That very well could have been a waste, but they do capture point A, they stay alive, and they have a good opportunity now to get point B with 5 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. But keep in mind, with the amount of time that Sweden has left, Canada really needs to take this in the next 2 to 3 minutes if they want a realistic chance of winning this match.
And you also see Sureforce now switching over to Pharah. And you would have thought, maybe Farah's not the best option here because the other team had McCree, IDDQD, but now IDDQD switched over to May. You have Tavik on Reaper, so Farah should be pretty good here. And they're actually going to nano boost Sureforce on Pharah up in the sky. It's going to be Chips just trying to keep his Reinhardt alive from afar. And now you're going to see a nano boost come in for the side of Sweden. You see Tavik, though, he's able to get one, getting dangerously low, getting some good heals, though. And it's going to be Sweden winning these engagements, pushing Canada back. So Canada uses their ultimates there on that fight. They get nothing to show for it. They're going to chase down Huck, try and stagger him a little bit. So now Canada going to have to wait till everybody's up, ZP. What did you see there in that fight that went wrong for Canada?
I think what went wrong for Canada, they just over-engaged to begin with. They were definitely caught off guard by the Mei. I mean, you take a look at what IDDQD did in that fight on the Mei. Already almost has a Blizzard. Just, they were a little bit over-eager to press whatever advantage they thought they might have had, and now they're going to get punished for it because rolling into the next fight, they're going to have to deal with this Blizzard. They're not going to have much to deal with it on their own. And oh my goodness, Sureforce getting bopped right out of the sky by that icicle, and that kills his push right here.
That was a fairly nice shot. Little wave there from IDDQD I love, when we spoke to Sweden, just how confident they are, and especially IDDQD, like how confident he is coming into this. I know, like a lot of the other players, like when you speak to them, they're like, oh man, Sweden is so cocky, so confident, we want to beat them. But they are just that good. You see the skill coming through there. And now they have ultimate advantage here going into this next fight. So it's interesting. Canada can come in. They can try and force some of those ultimates out. Rolf does have that res on Mercy. So potentially you see Canada dive onto the point, force some ultimates out, and then Rolf coming through there with a big res.
All right, well, Zebosai right now looking to step Sweden for glory. He knows everyone is in that room, has Graviton Surge here and at the ready, and they're getting ice walled early on. I think they were hoping to split people off, but Zebosai is still in a really good position to punish Canada here. Canada, they are going to take the opportunity, but they're going to be walking right into this Graviton. But no, the Earth Shatter from Huck stops Zebosai, but it's not enough. 2 quick kills come out from Sweden regardless.
Yeah, Poke's going to use his Dragon Blade here, and now the res comes in. So a big res there from Rolf, but it doesn't matter. After the res comes through, it's going to be Sweden just wiping the floor with Canada. It's just going to be ID and Logan the Best there left on the point. They quickly drop a very good hold there through the res from Sweden.
And there's a downside to that for Canada beyond just the ultimates being used and getting nothing from it. Rolf going to the Lucio here, Surefour off the Pharah. They also, because Zebosai got knocked to the ground when he was going for the Graviton, he never actually used Graviton, so he's going to have it up in the next fight. So that's still a threat here for Canada.
That's a very good point. They'll have the Graviton and they'll have an Earth Shatter. Chips will have the Nano Boost. So Canada in a world of trouble here, ZP, as the clock is dwindling down. Logan the Best just with that Nano Boost. They'll have ID getting very close to a Graviton. So they will have some things to work with if they wait here, but they're getting in an awkward position where you have members of Sweden ready to collapse on them.
In Sweden right now, you take a look at Tavik, he's ready to just drop down on Momotonos. And Zebosai, here we are again, where you have Canada going through that left room, and Zebosai just sitting here, waiting for the right Graviton moment. There won't be an Earth Shadow to knock him on the ground, or maybe there will. Huck is filling up pretty quickly. Either way, though, Zebosai able to sit here, wait for the opportunity, and now boost Reinhardt might not even be needed.
Yeah, and you see 2 big kills coming in there. It was actually Coco knocking down 2 with the Earth Shatter. IDDQD picks up 2 on the point. Poke just trying to stay alive. He was able to win a fight with Tavik, but just look at Coco keeping his teammates alive. They put ID to sleep. Oh, you're gonna die. It's not gonna be fun. See you later, buddy. You get pinned against the wall. Fantastic hold there from Sweden.
That is not a good wake-up call, X. I mean, it's one thing. He was having a nice nap there,
and then
Reinhardt just charges him into the wall. I'm a deep sleeper, but I don't like my alarm clocks to be that crazy.
I see what you did there. He was taking a nap. You said wake-up call. I get your joke, CP. I get it. You see now, Sweden just dominating Canada here in our second point. Can Canada figure out a way to break this defensive setup of Sweden? You hear a Nano Boost come in there. It's going to be from the side of Canada, but now comes the Graviton Surge. Tavik has his Death Blossom, but no need to use it there. Zebosai picks up 3. A Blizzard comes in from IDDQD as well. So Canada, they all fall pretty quickly. Surefour there at the end, builds up some ultimate, gets that Death Blossom. On the side of Sweden, though, they hold on to Tavik's Death Blossom. That's going to be big.
And here we go for Canada. If they want to stay alive, this final push will decide their fate. They do have the Dragon Blade at the ready. They have the Death Blossom, but they have to find a way of not only beating Sweden here, but effectively flawless victorying them if they want to take this point. They have no ticks here. Everything on the line here for Canada as they begin what is very likely to be their final push.
Yeah, and they put Tavik asleep up top, but they can't actually punish him for it. So Tavik stays alive through that. Chips has the Nano Boost, so now you're going to see Tavik come from up top as that Nano Boosted Reaper, but he's quickly put to sleep by Logan the Best. Now you see Poke. He's going to pull out the Dragon Blade as we get down here under 30 seconds. It's going to be Surefour and Huck picking up some kills. Poke putting down a lot of nice damage with this Genji inside of the point, but here comes Coco. He hits a big Earth Shatter there, knocking down some members of Canada, and now it's going to be Coco staying alive in the point. Here comes the reinforcements from Sweden.
Sweden just injecting Canada from their point. Canada was looking good for a moment, but this might be it, X. 10 seconds left remaining, and Canada, maybe they'll try and force overtime, but they're so far back, I don't think that's going to happen, and as a result, it is going to be Sweden taking this. Hang on, folks. Wait.
Oh. Hold on.
Wait a second.
Get all the way back here.
Hey, wait a second.
It is not over yet.
The last stand is real.
Poke just staying alive on the point. Needs to contest. He needs to get back on. Oh, and he falls. So that looks like it will be it. The Graviton comes in from Zebosai there at the end. Well, it will be Sweden taking this match over Canada.
That was the last moment there from Poke where he says, look, we're not going out quite yet. It was still really difficult because it was going to be at a 1v5, but hey, when the choice is either that or losing outright, why not go for that last moment effect? But Sweden taking it 2-0 and X, pretty much it for Canada here.
Yeah, and you saw some great plays from Tavik. He finishes 40-6. IDDQD finishes things off 35-5. It is Sweden getting a 2-0 victory over Team Canada. Let's go to the guys at the desk to get their thoughts.
What a matchup there. I don't
Wow.
even know where to start. Guys, Doa, what are you thinking off the top of your head?
I mean, it's kind of, you know, what we may have been expecting a little bit there. Sweden just looking like they're really coordinated, got a lot of skill, got a little bit messy here and there, but no real issues taking down Canada.
It just seems like it's so easy for them. I mean, we're sitting here and we're listening to them, and they're just yelling on top of their lungs, and just like they're just spamming with Junkrat, you know, having a good time. It's no biggie. I don't know.
Well, let's take a look at the group graphic, and we'll update on the current scores here, because this is big for this group. This is going to determine a lot of how the rest of the day is going to play out. Wow.
Yeah, as we look at this, obviously Sweden with 2-0, almost guaranteed to get out of this group right now, barring some really weird tiebreak scenarios. So Spain, definitely the favorites over Brazil, meaning that these are the teams we're likely to see in first and second place. And we'll see when they play each other what happens, and if who's going to win. Probably Sweden, based on everything that we've seen so far.
Hashtag no bias, probably yes.
I think this group looks pretty much locked up. I don't think anybody can take down Sweden at this point from that group.
Absolutely. Let's hop right into our replays, because we have several from the match, despite how short it was.
Oh, yes.
And starting things off was this interesting flank.
Yes, this is a fun replay. We see Canada right off the bat. They're trying to pull something else off, you know. They know that they're facing Sweden. They have to do something unique, you know, pull out a cool strategy. So we see them wrap around the entire point here, the first point. They have a Genji and they have a Pharah. And the plan here is just to get into the back line and synchronize the aggression with the front line. And they can just sandwich basically the defense and get a few picks. But Sweden are like one of the best teams in the world. So they're just like, oh, half of your team is missing. Okay, we're just going to push out. So if we play here, we can just see Pharah coming into the point, and no one's here.
Where are they?
Yeah, nobody there. And usually they were trying to abuse the fact that you would just hold at the archway and not push out beyond that really as the defensive team. But as you say, Poke, they realize he is entirely alone at the cart right there. He's the only guy pushing actively, so they just turn on him immediately. It was a cute flank, but it took a really long time to execute, and Sweden sniffed out their strategy.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is a good strategy, you know. This is something that you need to do these kind of strategies if you want to win here. But if you're facing South Korea or Sweden, they're a bit smarter than most other teams. So yeah.
I mean, if you're just standing there and there's like one Zarya pushing the card and like an Ana way in the back right there, like,
yeah.
Well, just kill you.
Let's take a look at my favorite part of the match, guys. It may not be quite as strategically in-depth, but it was still pretty awesome. We saw a sleep dart landed here, and let's just go ahead and play it.
That was my question. Did it involve
From Zave's perspective, oh, hey, somebody's taking a nap. I'll just take a rest too, man. Then, oh no, my friend is gone. And that clip right there, that kind of says that's the kind of the match in a nutshell.
Welcome
I think, right
to the
there.
analysis desk.
I like how Doa is just selecting style replays. We're just gonna call you Swag Lord Doa from now on, showing off all the swag.
I will be the Overwatch World Cup swag lord from now on. Yeah, we got to find all the stylish, flashy plays that teams get to do. We're gonna be looking for more from Korea later.
Yeah.
Well, there were some more of those little stylish plays in there. We have a whole pack of replays we can check out here, because I had some questions too about exactly some of the choices that were made here.
Wow. All right. Well, Tavik built up this Dragon Strike so fast too, man.
His team just decided to use 5 ultimates, and then they won the video game.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you only have to push the payload like 2 feet.
Well, there was some discussion on the desk. I mean, how you guys felt about the Hanzo and the McCree.
Yeah.
Monty, you like that? Doa, not so much?
I don't know. I'm okay with it.
I feel good about it. If you're going to use the Hanzo and McCree together to play with range and to whittle down the enemy team, but when you're trying to get flanks off with the McCree, one wonders if sometimes Tracer may be the better hero to use. So.
Yeah, I mean, Surefour really did everything he could this match. You can't, I mean, looking at clips like this, you can't fault the guy for trying at least, you know. But it's a team effort, right? And when you look at this on paper, you know, Sweden just has so much talent, and they're putting it to use. And it's kind of it's tough to imagine a world, you know, where that team could beat Sweden. Really.
I do want to give some warning signals though, because we saw them pull out the McCree Hanzo. I'm not really sure that lineup is going to work against the better teams. I'm seeing some flaws. I mean, we saw it even versus Brazil, you know. They kind of overconfident. They just take weird engages, really. So I want them to step up their game a bit, you know, and get used to playing the better teams instead.
Do you feel like it's a bit of overconfidence from Sweden at this point? That's what it looks like to me.
I don't
you know,
know
they're
if
just
they're
not taking
actually
these matches
showing
too.
us their
Protecting
real
their
strats
strats,
right
perhaps?
now.
I'm just saying, if you gotta perform, you
do. I mean, we did see them lose a point to Brazil, but I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Sweden's not really bringing their A game to these matches right now, and they don't need to. You know, it's worked so far, but going further into the tournament, they're going to need to step it up a bit.
Absolutely. Great assessments, guys, and thank you so much. We will be seeing you on the caster desk very soon when we come back for the next match.